Good start, John.
Start with you.
Come on, you old John.
Oh, come on, John. You've already told me 6 of them. He's been sitting over there ratchet on me.
I don't know where to start.
Start with Iwo.
How long do I have? About 4 hours, 5 hours?
About 20 seconds.
20 seconds. That sounds good. Well, I was a little bitty boy from Diebold, and that's before I married this little girl. And went down, lied about my age, got the Marines.
How old were you?
I'm not going to tell you. Went out to San Diego and went through boot camp and then head out to Guam. But no, I head out to Hawaii. And when we went there in the shore of Hawaii, Pearl Harbor, they would not let a person throw their head above the deck because, you know, they scared those Japanese people. Anyhow, when we left Pearl Harbor, went back into Guam, we got there, I think August 15th. Well, the 3rd Division had already gone through there and got, you know, killed most of the Japanese, but I was happy to be there anyhow. And I scout sniper. So they, as a replacement, so we took it off and they put me out, you know, scout first. We took off and guess what? There's a Jap come up about 4 minutes that wasn't not over 100 yards in that jungle, and man, I was a good shot. And I pulled down on him, he dropped, and guess what? I'll never know to this day whether I killed him or not, because I was too chicken to go over and check.
That's a great one. And honest.
Yes, honest.
James, tell us your tank story.
My what?
Your tank story.
My tank.
When the tank rescued you.
Oh, okay. I like to stand up and tell you that.
Yeah, you gotta stand up for that one.
Well, I'll start off I was born near Plano, Texas,
There you go.
June 18th, 1926. Then when my family moved from that dairy to Garland, and that's where I joined the Marines. I was 17 years old. I had to have my mother's signature in order for me to go in the Marines. My dad was in the Army at Camp Claiborne, Louisiana, and he wouldn't sign for me, but I talked my mother into it. And I got on a troop train there in Dallas, Texas, to Yamasee, South Carolina. And then I went from that boot camp at Parris Island, South Carolina. And then after my 13 weeks there, I went to Camp Lejeune, Camp Lejeune, North Carolina. And that's where I got my advanced training. I rode a troop train all the way across to San Diego. And I rode on the train, and back then I didn't know you could flip that seat forward or backward. And I rode on that train
Sitting up.
backward all the way across. But it was one of these old trains that was pulled by coal, and the coal dust would come in through those windows. Well, you got the coal dust in your eyes then. Then after we got to San Diego, well, we got our overseas shots, 21 of them. And then from there, then they put us on a bus going to San Francisco. And we left San Francisco and got on a troop ship out of there, and it was the Rochambeau. And we rode from there to Pearl Harbor. We ate Thanksgiving dinner in 1944 at Pearl Harbor. And then we left there and went from there to Anahuito. And the Japanese had sung a food ship there right out of Pearl Harbor, and the Navy had brought that ship up with air balloons and brought it to Anahuito. We worked there 10 days. I don't know how long we worked after that, but I worked there, volunteered for 10 days, and the canned goods, the labels had wore off. But anyway, we went from there to Guam, and we got in on the tail end, like John, on the tail end of mopping up Guam. And they put me out on guard duty, and I knew they shouldn't have done that. When they put me out on guard duty, I was scared as a scared rabbit anyway, but I never had shot at a thing or anybody. But anyway, I was at night, and it sounded like two people walking, the footprints. But then I hollered halt twice, and it didn't halt. The third time, I didn't give it a chance to halt. I shot that booger. Come to find out, it was a water buffalo. So, anyway, I thought I was going to get a citation for that, you know, but I didn't. So they didn't put me on guard duty no more. But anyway, then after we finished our training there on Guam, well, we was aboard ship going to, we thought was Okinawa. That was the scuttlebutt. Anyway, we was a floating reserve on Iwo Jima. And then, like you say, the 4th and 5th was shot up pretty good. Tokyo Road said, welcome the 3rd Marine Division, because the 4th and 5th can hold roll call in the telephone booth.
Yeah, that's right.
Isn't that right, John?
That's right.
Anyway, she was a broadcaster for the television of Tokyo Road. Anyway, we got off that ship. It was the 20th day of February. And we got, I guess from here to the road up there, to the beach, and they was shelling our LST, which was a landing craft there. We didn't get ashore. So we went back aboard ship there, and the next morning we got in that cargo unit with all of our gear and their rifles and everything. Got back aboard that LST. Might not have been the same one. But anyway, we got on that beach end. And I'll tell you what, it was a mess. There was blood in that water. It was something else. I'll never forget that deal. Anyway, we got, I guess maybe 100 feet from the beach, and I got shrapnel into my knee. And a shell exploded into my ear, and I busted my eardrum. But anyway, they just took I had leggings on. Many of you know what leggings are. So they didn't take my leggings off to operate on my knee, so they just cut my dungarees. Put it open, put some of that sulfamelinide powder on it to dry the blood up, bandaged it up, said, your front lines is up there. So I hobbled up there, and I stayed with my group up there. But anyway, we was on Hill 363, and we was on a kind of a suicide mission. We was up on that hill right there, and we was supposed to go down, but we was walking along there, and it was only thing would do would you'd see a flare shot up from the ship. That was only your way of knowing where you were going. We didn't know anyway, but anyway, when you walk along there, and that was about a 15-foot drop off. You was holding the other man's shoulder in front of you, and when he dropped down, well, he said, well, oh my God. Then next time it's on your shoulders when you get to the bottom. But anyway, we crawled over in a shell hole. When the foxhole, it was a shell hole, because you dig out that dirt and it's one scoop out and two would fall in, so it was a shell hole, see, when it was blasted out. So anyway, we stayed there about 3 days, and they was firing at us, and then, I mean, when you had your feet drawn up underneath your bottom, and they was shooting within 3 and 4 inches of your shoes, you know. And like I say, if you wasn't scared, you was lying. So anyway, we heard the tanks coming. Somebody had radioed the tank and said that we were captured right there. Couldn't get moved. So anyway, the tank drove right across our shell hole, and there's 3 of us crawled up in that shell, in that escape hole of the tank. And then he backed out, took us to the beach.
There you go.
And thank God I'm here today.
Would you tell us one or two?
Thank you.
Like most everybody, the time came and I told my dad, I said, Dad, I'm going to be a Marine. And he says, no way, you're going to be a Marine. Well, you heard a story about outside of Guam, over on the island of Anahuac. Now we didn't know what the heck that was going to be. We made the landing with no trouble. We were kind of escorted by another group, and turned out that it was a whole bunch from the 4th Marine Division. And I got pretty close to this one fella, and he said, "Take these two, you're going to need them." 2 hand grenades. And I looked at him and I said, "What the hell am I going to do with that?" Well, it didn't take long before I found out what we were going to use with us for. A little bit later, we were going along, and that was when I wound up getting wounded bad enough to put on a hospital ship, and wound up going back to Guam for a short while. And that was Tina. That's where I ran into Tina.
Not yet.
Not yet. You were back in the States. Tell them about your
That was
time.
the other girl.
Tell them about your time on your medical ship.
story.
About hitting. What's his name?
I can tell that story.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead. John can tell that story probably even better because it's heard from both sides. You want him?
My wife, Rebecca Seidel, her grandfather, Bill Seidel, was a Navy man on the USS Napa during World War II. And one Thanksgiving, not too long after we moved in our new house, and Mom and Dad came down for that Thanksgiving dinner that year, Bill and John had hit it off real well, and they were sitting down talking about their time in the Pacific. And Bill was talking about his time on a ship. It was a cargo ship, and he said, "Gosh, it was so crowded in the bay that we actually ran into a transport ship." And my dad looks at him and said, "You know, I was on a transport ship when I got evacuated from Iwo because they didn't have any more medical ships available. And some damn ship hit us." And everybody in that room shut up. We looked at these two guys
These 2 young men.
who were sitting there now with tears in their eyes, thinking, we're at Thanksgiving dinner, and they had never met before, with my son and daughter-in-law, and we met that many years ago in the middle of an ocean during a ferocious battle.
Wow.
At that time, and they connected right at that moment. The chances of that they had hit each other on different ships, and then they sat down for Thanksgiving dinner.
And they both remembered the dates.
They remembered everything about it.
Wow.
I couldn't believe that. That was a really amazing story.
Thank you. Thank you so much. May I help you?
Hey, y'all, before Oliver talks, look out there. Does it get any better than that?
Well, wait till you walk to your car.
Oh.
That's when the sun sets.
You know what I would like to do?
Then when the
We got one more, Oliver.
Oh, okay. Oliver. The harmonica man.
It's about gone. Let me pull this thing off.
You'll get serious.
But I'm gonna get warmed up.
What kind of show you plan on putting on, Oliver?
Hey, you just a boogaroo. Keep your pants on. Oliver was born in December the 16th, 1922. I went during the Depression years, and I had a hell of a time making a living. But I went to caddying, and I caddied for one of the big shots at the light company. And one day I said, Mr. Van Hand, I need a job. He said, be in my office Monday morning. That was in 1941. And I worked for him for 43 years. But I was, just before I decided to join the Marines, I had a bunch of stinking linemen that would beat on me all the time and did things because I was so little. I weighed 118 pounds. But anyway,
What did they call you, Oliver?
they called me Pine Nut because I was so damn tough. I took everything they put out. Anyway, I went down Saturday morning. I joined the Marines. And I come back and I told them, I said, I joined the Marines. They said, you know what? You can't make the Marines. I take every damn thing they put out and then that. And I came to boot camp and then went to Guam. Oh, hell. Well, anyway. and then I went from there to boot camp. Anyway, damn, I'm getting all mixed up.
It's a hard job, isn't it, Oliver?
Anyway, I went from there to New Zealand, and we had one hell of a bunch of training there. We made 60-mile hikes on rice and raisins, and then we'd make that 20 miles one day, and then we would play ball and all that, and have our rice and raisins over the fire. Then I went from there to Guadalcanal. And I didn't do the fighting there because the fighting was over with. But we did a lot of training in getting the stragglers out of the mountains, bringing them down. Then I went from there to New Zealand. And that was one hell of a battle there. Yeah. We went through water and everything else. We slept in, and the tide come in the night and we'd almost drowned. Next night we built it up and put those grass stuff over, and the water come in there like runs there. So anyway, then we moved it from there up to Hill 1000. And moved up there, and a damn earthquake came. And it knocked all our settings down where we could. And the grass and the trees, it all fell down over us. But we didn't stop. We went from there oh, by the way, I was the first scout. And I had to go on every damn outing every day but one. And that was when we went down to the beach to pick up the food to bring back up to us. But I didn't say no. I did my job.
Yes.
And I was proud of that part of it. Then we went from there, back to Guadalcanal, and got ready again take a trip to Guam. But we didn't get quite to Guam. They had another battle there beside it. And we had to go, we went out to the Marshall Islands and we played with the little bugs and traced them out and all that. Well then, I got a lot to tell, but I don't remember what all it is. But anyway, I went from there back to well, I got wounded up on the Guam. I had to find a way to get to the top of the hill, and just as I got up there, one of the bombs in this grass huts went off and hit me upside the head, and it's still shrapnel in there and all. But then I went from there down to the beach, and my buddy come by me after I got shot in the leg. He come by and he was holding his hand like that, and he said, I'll send somebody after you. It wasn't 2 minutes, I guess. One of those amphibious tractors picked me up, take me down to the beach, and laid me down on the beach, waiting for the boat to pick me up and take me down to hospital ship Solace. And then I spent a week out there on that ship. And by that time, they had a hospital set up ashore, but I was wounded too bad to make it, so they take me back to Pearl Harbor. And I spent months there. And then I come home, and I had a lot of time getting that. My poor old mother, I love that woman to death. She had a hell of a time with her children. She had 6 boys, 5 boys and one girl, and 6 of us. All of us boys were in the service. I was in the Marine. My baby brother was in the Marines. My next boy to me was in the CBs, and my baby next brother was in the Army. So my mother had it, and she had such a hard time trying to make a living, and us old boys off in the service. So anyway, oh Lord, I think that's enough to y'all talk about. I don't.